let us go to what we have been talking about recently. Let's do a little bit of a summary before we really get stuck in. So when we talk about financial maths, there are two main formulas. Okay. The one is compound interest, which really gets most of the airtime. Then there is something called simple interest, which looks like that. And it gets a little bit less airtime, but it's still important. Now, if things are increasing in value, you are generally going to see a plus sign there. Now, it is possible to just use these two formulas for everything, except when you have depreciation, depreciation means you're losing value. And so then either this needs to change to a negative or the I needs to be negative. So it doesn't matter if you use these ones for depreciation as long as your I is negative. However, in the last lesson, what I was doing is I was putting the minus sign in for that and the minus sign in for this, and that's completely fine. It's just remember then your I needs to be a positive, even though it's losing value. So give me a thumbs up if those formulas look familiar to you. Okay, and so when we talk about these formulas, remember that P is the initial, A is the final, N is the number of time periods. Now, it doesn't have to be in years. In fact, what we're going to see today is if it says compounded monthly, my time periods should be in months. If it says compounded quarterly, my time periods should be in quarters. So remember, this isn't years, it's number of time periods. And then I is either the interest rate, if I is positive, or it's the depreciation rate if it is negative. Okay, so that's some important ideas. Then also remember that if something is happening for 4 years, but it's being compounded monthly, I don't want my time periods to be in years. I want them to be in months, which means I would have 48 time periods. But there's another problem. If my interest rate was, say, 8% per annum, so 0.08% per annum, or let me write it like they normally do. They write it as, if this is written as 8% per annum, but you are compounding monthly, you need to take your 8% and divide it by 12 to get the per month interest rate. And this is going to be very, very important today because you're going to see me doing this a lot. Again, another quick happy face if you understand that, sad face if you don't. These are the basics. These are the building blocks of financial maths. Okay, Sunday, don't worry. You've come to the right place if you don't know how that works. Okay, so let's go to a first example. Now, I have a whole bunch of questions here. We're not going to do all of them, but I'm just going to choose some basics here. So I'm going to say to you, you have the method of depreciation you are using is going to be straight line depreciation. Okay, straight line depreciation, which means that you are going to use the formula for straight line depreciation. You need to think about what that is. They don't give you the A value, but they do give you the P value, the I value, and the N value. So can you work out for me how much this thing that starts out life being worth 680 is going to be worth after 5.5 years at 10.8% per annum depreciation? I want you just to warm up by doing that today. Now remember, it's straight line or simple depreciation. And for those who are feeling a bit lost, if you need a tip, my tip is this formula would be your friend. Okay, amaze me with your knowledge, ladies and gentlemen. Let's do this. We can do it. While you do that, I'm going to get my calculator. So if you don't already have your calculator, I would suggest you would get it on standby, because financial maths is a very calculator section. So what do we have? We have to put this here. We have to make sure we get this right. And then it's going to be times 5.5. So please put your answer in the chat so I can see if you guys are following along nicely. $680 times 1 minus 0.108 times 5.5. What are you getting? $276. Oh, 276.08. So if we use straight line depreciation, the thing that was worth 680 is now worth 276.08. Okay. Let's try another one. That was just our first one. I am going to ask you now to say, look, you're going to know the final value. So you know that the A is that. You know that the I is 8.3% per annum. So that's the depreciation rate. And you know it's for 6 years. Can you work out for me what the initial value of the item was? What are we going to get? So we're still using straight line depreciation. So it's still going to be this formula. But there's some stuff which is different. So what do we have to do different? So my biggest problem now is I need to figure out what P is. Who's going to help me in the chat? I know there is someone who wants to help me. Kelobachile, Ganlon, Callan, can you help me out? Buchle, what do you think? What do you get for P? Reniwe, let's have a look if I agree with you. Thank you. 7848. Okay, so I'm going to go to my calculator, fraction button, 3940 divided by bracket 1 minus 0.083 times 6, close bracket, equals. So what I really have to do is I have to move this whole thing to the other side. But when I move it, it's going to become divide. And so what do I get for the p-value when it's all by itself? I get 7848.61. So the original value of the item was 7,848.61. And then after 6 years, its value dropped to 3940. Let's see who else agrees with me. Buchle does. Fantastic. Okay, and so does Pavelelo. All right, I think we've got that one down. So let's go now to what we're going to call the reducing balance method of depreciation. So for this one, let me move this out. What you're going to notice is for the reducing balance method of depreciation for the loss of value, we are now starting to compound not annually, but at different things. So I'm going to write down the formula you would use. The depreciation formula for reducing balance depreciation or compound depreciation is that I want you to tell me if I give you this question. Can you find the A value at the end? And I'll give you one hint. If your I is 0.077 per year, but I now need to compound it semi-annually, what do I need to divide that interest rate by? Because it's a yearly interest rate, but I need to chop it up. How much do I need to divide it by in this case? Definitely 2, because semi-annually. But now I have another problem. This is N is 3, but I don't want years. What do I actually want? So I want half years. And so N is going to be 3 times 2, which is 6. Okay. You need to work out what the final value is for me. You know what the starting value is. What is the final value? Thanks, Colin. It's not months, it's half years or semi-annuals. Okay. I will wait for the answers because I know this is something you want to practice. And let's make this a little bit bigger. So, well, I'll do it after the next one. And what's this going to be the power? This is going to be the power of 6. What are people getting for this one? So 6080 times open bracket 1 minus fraction button 0.077 over 2 close bracket to the power of 6. Let's see who gets Tandiwe, Manila, Asande. We are all on the same bus going to the same place. This is fantastic. 4803.96. That is how much it'll be worth in the end. Give me a quick score out of 10 for how you are feeling about financial math so far. 0 is unhappy face. I don't know anything. 5 is I'm getting there, but I need to improve. 10 is like, I know this back to front. Where are you sitting on your scale at the moment? Okay, lots of 6s, 5s, 6s. So we're in the right place. We just need to keep swimming or keep practicing. So let's do just that. Thank you for your votes, everyone. You will never know how helpful it is for me to see the numbers because it's sort of like seeing your facial expressions. It just helps me stay in touch with how you're feeling, even though we are separated by distance. Your numbers help me understand what's going on. Okay, let's do the next question. What we are going to do now is we are going to do B. Now, the difference here is you are trying to find, in fact, let's not do B. Let's do, before I even do that one, let's do okay, compounded, no, not I. I want to solve for something else. Compounded weekly. Okay, let's do this one. Now, what I will tell you is how many weeks there are in a year to help you. So there are 52 weeks in a year. 52 weeks in a year. So I want you to try and figure out the one that I've highlighted in yellow, but bear in mind, there are 52 weeks in a year. See if you can solve this problem. Let me just check for sure. I'm pretty confident there are 52 weeks in a year, but Google can help me. Let's have a look. How many weeks in a year? 52 weeks in a year. I listened in class. Okay. Can you figure out? We're still using the reducing balance method, so we know this must be the formula, but some stuff is going to have to change. So I think what we need to do is take the interest rate, which is 2.3% per annum, and convert it. So 0.023 must be divided by 52, and n must be 6 times 52, which is what? 6 times 312. So what is A going to end up being? Thank you, Machadiso. Sunday's also got a vote in there. It's looking pretty likely. Let me make sure I just check this. So 1810 minus 0.023 divided by 52 to the power of 312. Let's have a look. 1 minus fraction button, 0.023 over 12, sorry, over 52. I'm so used to getting over 52, and then to the power of 312. I get 1576.64. Awesome, 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 awesome. Okay, you guys have done this one. Now for a sneaky one. Let's do B. Now, what's different about B is it's asking for the depreciation rate. Now, it's a little bit sneaky, but I want you to think about what should go where. So let me know in the chat if you can write down the first statement or if you're getting a bit stuck with this one. So say stuck if you're stuck, or say done if you can write down the first bit of information about doing the blue one. So it's saying if you know the initial value is 7190, you know the final value is 5830, you know the time period is 8 years, and the interest rate is compounded quarterly, or the depreciation rate rather is compounded quarterly, what will the nominal interest rate be? Can you set this up? Can you write in the equation that we're looking for? I'm going to watch the chat. I either want to see stucks or dones. Okay, Reniwe, thank you so much for that vote. A thumbs down is also helpful for me. Let me know if you're feeling stuck. Kilabohile, thank you very much. Okay, people are feeling stuck. So this is brilliant. What a chance for learning. So how about if I said to you, I'm going to take this formula and I'm going to put 5830 there, and I'm going to put 7190 there. I'm going to open up a bracket and I'm going to leave a space there. Are you all with me so far for the blue one? Give me a thumbs up if you follow me so far. Okay, no mystery yet. Okay, let's do the next bit. Let's say it's 1 minus something. If I put a 4 there and an I there, and I close that bracket, could you still give me a thumbs up? Because I went I divided by 4. All right, so you guys are with me. Okay, now, what do you think the number that goes here is going to be? What do you think the number that goes there is going to be? Is it going to be 8? Is it going to be 16? Is it going to be 96? Is it going to be 32, 24? You guys are too clever, because you've all realized that if this is divided by 4, well, the n is going to be 8 times 4, which is 32. So this is going to be 32. Okay, but you've got another problem that you need to try and solve. You need to try and get this I all by itself. And I want to give you some time to see if you can find that I all by itself. See if you can do that I by itself. What would you do first? Maybe somebody in the class can help us. Tell us, what number do we start with? Remember, they say sharing is caring. Where do we start? I love it. Reniwe, you are so generous. Thank you so much. This needs to move to the other side. So we're going to say, okay, now, what's next? I think it's this 32. So we have two choices about this 32. We need to undo it. So what I'm going to say is that I'm going to put a bracket around that, and I'm going to say, same with this. You can say take the 32nd root, or you can raise both sides to the power of 1 over 32. Give me a thumbs up if you understand why I'm choosing to raise both sides to the power of 1 over 32. Okay. Now, the beautiful thing about 1 over 32 is it knocks this out, and I'm left with 1 minus I over 4. On this side, I'm going to have whatever that is. But you have to help me. I still haven't got the I by itself. So can you help me find a value for I? I'll give you some time to work on that. Oh, sorry. Just wanted to zoom out a little bit. I'm thinking, and then, so what I did was I just moved everything to one side. And then in the very end, I'm going to have to take whatever that is. So let's just put it in like a blue bracket. So we're going to go 4 times whatever is in that blue bracket. What I value am I going to get? A lot of calculator work today. 4 times open bracket 1 minus open bracket fraction 5830 over 7190 close brackets, the first bracket, to the power of 1 over 32, and then close the other bracket What are you guys and girls getting? If I've lost you, give me a thumbs down. If you are with me, give me your decimal answer that you're getting here. Is anybody else getting 0.026123? There we go. Tandiwe is with me. Are you with me, Tandiwe? Bukle is with me. Klekang's with me. Okay. Now, what this means is we're going to write this as if you imagine going back into percentage, so 1, 2, we're going to say it is 2.61% per annum. And that is basically the depreciation rate. It's a negative, so it's losing minus 2.61% per annum. And that's essentially how it works. That was a very tough one, but I wanted to show you something that was a bit more difficult. And all that I had to do really was do some algebra to get the I by itself. And remember that the I is a depreciation one because the formula already had the negative in. Okay, it is now time for a break because we have worked hard for half an hour. So I want everyone to join me in stepping away from your computers. And I want you to join me in standing up. So let me move some space so we're not cluttered. Okay, and up we get. So step one, we want to do some breathing. So 3 deep breaths. Breathe in. Breathe in. Breathe in. Okay, let's loosen up. Shake out the arms. Shake out the legs. Okay, maybe just a bit of twisting. Oh, I hear my back clicking. Okay, roll the shoulders. Okay, and then just to get the blood pumping, we're going to do 15 jumping jacks in 3, 2, 1. Let's go. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And I feel like my brain has had a little bit of a reset. How does your brain feel? Does it feel heavy? Does it feel a little bit refreshed? Tell me how your brain is feeling after that break. You can emoticon your feeling if you like. Tandiwe, hang in there, Tandiwe. All right, let us look at some more exam questions related to financial mathematics. So often, when we talk about depreciation, we talk about cars because most people have to either buy a car or catch, a lift in a car. And so car prices and how they lose value is important. So it says, Kai bought a new car 4 years ago. He now wants to upgrade to the latest model. So, you can kind of imagine with cell phones this happens, but with cars, sometimes, I guess if you've got enough money, you can upgrade to a new car. Lucky you. 4 years ago, he invested 60,000 Rand for 4 years at an interest rate of 9.6% per annum, compounded monthly. So one of the big things with financial maths is just to slow down and look at all the different pieces of information. Then it says he will use the investment to pay cash for the new car. And he'll use the old car as a trade-in. Okay, calculate the value of his current car if he paid 160,000 Rand for it and it depreciated. Calculate the value of his current car. Whoa, there's a lot going on here. Okay. You will use, okay, so let's talk about the two parts. Investment, and the investment was 60,000, and tell me how much the investment is worth today. So before I even worry about anything else, I want you to work out how much is the 60,000 Rand investment that he invested 4 years ago. How much is that worth today? Work that out for me now, and then I'll carry on, because there's so much going on in this question. I feel like we should just go one step at a time. If I try and do too much, my brain is going to get overloaded. Welcome, Alkhan. It's good to see you there. So first of all, we need to think, what is the correct formula for this? This is not losing value. This is increasing in value. How much is the 60,000 going to turn into after 4 years? Who has an answer for me for this one? So how many years? 4, that's going to be 48. So let's see how much. So 60,000 times, open bracket, 1 plus 0.096 over 12 to the power of 48. And I'm getting 87,954.24. So that's how much money he will have, or she will have, in her bank account. Then it says, calculate the value of the current car. So we'll say the current car started out being worth 160,000, but it lost value. It depreciated at 12% per annum on the reducing balance method. How much is this car worth today? So it needs that 160,000 has definitely lost value. How much is it worth today? And I want you to think about how the formula will be slightly different. Who has some answers for me? Ooh, good question. So, very good question, Siamtanda. It says it depreciates at 12% per annum. It does not say per month. It says per annum. And so it's going to be reducing once a year. That is such a good question. So really, what we have is we have this situation, but we have 160,000 going here. And in this space over here, we have 0.12. It's not chopped up into smaller pieces because it says per year. Now, what is the N going to be? Well, because he bought the car 4 years ago, this is going to be 4. So how much is his old car worth today? How much is the old car worth today? So Buchler, we don't use 60,000 because in the question they said he paid 160,000 for the car when it was first bought. Let's have a look. 160,000 times 1 minus 0.12, close bracket, to the power of 4, I get 95951.26. And Pabalelo, a Sunday, they're all agreeing with me, so I'm feeling awesome. Okay, so what we have is we have some money that we saved that grew. Then we've got a car that we bought a long time ago. It's lost value, but this is how much I could trade it in for. So just give me a thumbs up or a happy face if you understand that. Like, you save some money and it keeps growing and it's got up to this amount. You also have a car which you've paid off and now it's losing value, but it still has some value. Okay, awesome. Let's see what, okay, I want to know, okay, they actually don't mention what the price, okay, so the question is a little bit cut off in that it doesn't mention how much the new car is. Ooh, okay, let me add to this question. If the new car he wants to buy costs 200,000, so if the new car he wants to buy costs 200,000, how much more money does he need? How much more money does he need? So this is me making up a question on the spot, but it's a lovely question. It's often how things will go. They say, look, you've got some cash, you've got the value of the car that you trade in. Can you afford the new car, which costs 200,000, or how much more do you need to save? See if you can, how much more money does he need to afford the car? Or maybe if he's lucky, he can afford the car and have some money left over to go to Steers. Who knows? You do the maths. It's Wednesday, and on Wednesday it's Wacky Wednesdays. So I'm thinking of Steers. I probably shouldn't be, but the heart wants what the heart wants. So let's have a look. If I add how much money I've got in the bank, which is the 87,954.24, 87,954.24, and I add 95951.26, I get 100. Basically, I have 183,905 and 50 cents worth of value. But the car costs 200,000. So how much more do I need? I just need whatever 200,000 minus 183.50 is. So what's that going to be? Let's have a look. So it looks like I am 16,094.50 cents short. I need another 16,094 rand and 50 cents to get my new car. Okay, that was quite a long one, but it's a common question that happens. Give me a score out of 10 for how well you understood that. How well did you understand that example, all its bits and pieces and all that? Okay, so what I want to say is if you didn't understand it well, then remember there's a recording that you can have another go at this at a later stage. Okay. All right, let's squeeze in a few more. They don't all have to be as difficult as that. That's a bit easy. I want something a bit harder. Okay, well, let's do this one first, and then we'll move to the TV one. Okay, a fridge costs 9,999. Calculate what it'll be worth in 5 years' time if it depreciates at 8% per annum on the reducing balance method. And so that's A. And then the second one, B, is how much will it be worth in 5 years' time if it's depreciating at 10% per annum, but on the straight line basis. You work that out for me. I think you can fly solo with this one. See if you can work this one out. So what does reducing balance mean? What formula does it need? What formula do you need for straight line? See if you can work this out. Let's see what we get. Did you choose the correct formula? So I get 6590.16. Anybody else get that? So my fridge is now worth, if I had to sell it, it would be worth that much approximately. Now, what about straight line depreciation? How much is the fridge worth for B? Oh, Papalelo, you've already got ahead of the game. Now I understand why you were different. So for this one, still 9,999, 1 minus, this will be 0.10 times by 5. And that is going to give me what's going to be times 0.5, isn't it? So this is going to be 4999.50. Okay, here's my interpretation question. Which fridge is worth more? Is it the fridge in A or the fridge in B? Which one is still worth more? Which one has more value? According to the calculation, anyway. So it has to be, based on what I'm seeing, this number here is bigger than that number there, so it has to be A. Exactly. So if they asked you an interpretation question and you say, well, fridge in A is worth more because the number is bigger. Okay. If they said to you, here's a clever question, how much depreciation, let's do this, how much depreciation has there been in A? How much depreciation has there been in B? Could you work that out? Now, depreciation is different to the depreciation rate. It's the amount of money you've lost. So work out how much money did you lose on the fridge in A? How much money have you lost on the fridge in B? What is the actual depreciation amount for A and B? Do you know how to work that out? So yeah, I'll give you some time to think about that. So for A, it started out life being worth 9999, but we lost how much? So let's have a look. At the end, it was worth, let's move this down. At the end, it was worth this. So the difference between these two must be the amount of depreciation. And that would be 3,408.84 Rand. How much depreciation has there been for the other one? Well, that's actually quite easy because it was half. So it's just going to be 499 and 950. So what you see is that the straight line depreciation, so the straight line depreciation has actually, it's lost more value, whereas the reducing balance, it's only lost that much. That's why it's still worth more. So it's good to understand the difference between the depreciation rate and the amount of depreciation. Give me a thumbs up if you understand the difference between the depreciation rate and the amount of depreciation. That is awesome. Okay, cool. Well, let's keep swimming. All right, let's go do this from a past. Okay, this is a problem-solving question. Here it is. So it says, Sibo Seesaw purchases a flat-screen TV for 6,000 Rand. Lucky Sibo Seesaw. 3 years later, he decides to buy a new TV. This feels a lot similar to the other question I was asking you. Can you work out for me how much money you have to pay in to buy his new TV? Give this a crack. If you get stuck, ask me questions, but I think you can give this a go. Okay, over to you guys. See if you can work out how much money or does Sibo Siso need to pay in to buy the new TV, or maybe he's lucky. Maybe he's got enough money he doesn't have to pay in anything. That's what you're going to find out for me. Okay, so there's two parts to this problem. The one is that the old TV that was worth 6,000 Rand has to be depreciated using the straight line method. So you need to use the straight line depreciation formula to work out how much the old TV is worth today. Then the other part is you need to think, look, this TV was worth 6,000 Rand 3 years ago, but the price has gone up at 8% per year. And so what formula do you need to work out the new price of the TV? Well, you are going to have to use the compound growth formula to work out what the new TV's price is. Give me a thumbs up if you understand the working so far. Give me a thumbs down if I've lost you. Okay. Now you need to, okay. So what I want to say is you need to work out how much is the new TV going to cost, and you need to use the compound growth formula to work out how much 6,000 grows to. It's going to be more than 6,000. But you also need to work out how much money or credit or how much value is still in the old TV that you're going to trade in. Because remember, you bought that old TV, you can sell it, you'll get some money that you can put towards the new TV. So if you're feeling comfortable, tell me in the chat what the new TV price is, and also tell me how much is the old TV worth. That's what I want to see. Oh, why is it compound? Okay, good question, Bukhle. Inflation is always compound, all right? So whenever you have the question refers to inflation, you will always see the N floating in the sky, because inflation, when prices increase, they're based on whatever the current price is, and each year it goes up by a certain amount based on what it currently was the last year. So it's like a thing with inflation. You always use compound growth to describe it. Does that help, Bukhle? Okay, fantastic. So what's my new price of the TV? So 6,001 plus 0.08, how many years? 3 years. What are we getting for the price of the new TV? Who has an idea for me? I'm getting, do you agree, oh, Callan, thank you so much. 7558, me and Callan are on the same page. Anybody else agree with us? Fantastic. Okay, now how much money am I going to get for my old TV that I'm going to sell and hopefully contribute towards this new TV? And the reason I'm using this formula is in the question, it said use depreciation using the straight line method. I think this should be 6,000 times 1, 0.12 times by, what's it? 3. Yeah. So 6,000 times by 1 minus 0.12 times 3, close bracket. I get 3,840. Okay, so the bad news is I don't have enough money for my new TV. How much money do I still need for my new TV? So I know how much the new TV costs. I know how much credits I've got from this one. I think I just go 7,558.27 minus 3,840. And I need 3,718.27 rands. Give me a happy face if you are in the same place as me.